Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Julie. You want to test your audio real quick?
Mute. There we go.
Cool.
Okay, I'm testing right now. Hi, DeeDee. How do I sound? Can you hear me okay?
Sound amazing.
Awesome. Must be the new mic. Yay. Good morning, everyone. Okay. Think I'm good. And then, cool. And then you made it so we can share our screens later.
So I'm gonna make you a co-host.
There's Mark. Hi, Mark.
Hello.
I'm here, Josh, for me to help you. So let me know.
Hey, Julie. It's been a long time since
I
we've seen each other.
know. I
You are a
know.
beautiful lady. Feminine radiance.
Thank
Whee!
you.
Awesome.
Thanks. And DeeDee's on here too. Under name. DeeDee's name right now says Historic 4th Ave. Under the little face.
Name. Let me go.
Hi, Shannon.
Hey, how's it going?
Do you want pop cycle?
I can do this last pop cycle.
There we go. We got our tech help.
Is that good? Is that how you want
Yeah.
it?
Thanks.
You got a crazy puppy in the house.
Oh, I see a tail. And Mark, how are you doing today?
Perfect.
Good. Awesome. So I see about, I think 67 people have registered. So that's pretty awesome.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And it's, it's so neat. Like, it's actually a positive thing about the virtuals. Like, one of my friends in Denver, she's registered. So it's very neat that we'll get people from other areas.
So I'm going first, huh?
Yes.
Can I test out whether or not the screen shares well enough?
Yep.
So let me just really quick. Oh, host disabled attendee screen sharing.
I think he's working on it right now.
Oh, okay.
Josh, I think he's.
Yeah. So Emily, now please make Mark a co-host as well. She's now the host. She has all the power.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I can focus on talking.
You're good to go, Mark.
Okay.
Thanks,
All right,
Emily.
Let me do that. See.
All right,
if
and
that-
then Emily, do you see the power to do breakout rooms in the bottom toolbar?
Yep.
All right.
Go ahead and
So-
click that. It's not going to make us go and just get familiar with what that interface looks like. You can, there's a little bit of like you want to set it where it automatically breaks us out, but then there's a chance for you to actually assign a speaker to each room. And of course, we're doing 3 rooms.
So do you see that?
Yes. Yep. I see your
Okay.
screen.
Okay,
Josh,
let
it says 3 participants per room. Is that just because of the number of people that we have in here right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So you guys, I just want feedback. That's all if it's working, right?
Yep. And it's like full screen. Yep.
Okay, good.
I see
Okay,
it.
let me just out of that.
Cool.
And sharing. Okay.
Good. Good test.
All right, super. We're all set then.
And DeeDee and Mark, so Josh is here, and then that's Emily, and she's part of our team too.
Hi, Emily.
Hi.
Making
Hi,
it happen
Josh.
every month.
Great.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
Oh, pleasure. Happy to do it.
And
Thanks for having me.
Josh is with Brink Media, so he's currently, I can tell he's in their office space, their studio space, which is off of, is it 5th or what street is it, Josh? 6th. It's a pretty cool creative space.
Is that 6th and 6th?
6th and 21st Street, actually.
Oh,
So
21st. Oh, okay. So you guys are south.
Yeah.
we're in the big KY supermarket building.
Oh, I'm not sure I'm familiar with that.
There's an what's the auto store, Josh, right across the street?
What is that?
He's like looking.
Yeah. AutoZone, one of
Yeah.
those.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
one of those
yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's between 5 points and 22nd.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very cool. So Brink does everything from like digital media, all of the above. I don't know.
Brand strategy and creative, and then within creative, we specialize in websites and like apps and experiences. We do content. We have video production studios, both
Oh,
here in
wow.
Tucson and in
That's
DC, and then design services.
Yeah, all of the above. I used to help Mark with graphic design work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then wait, DeeDee, what's your dog's name?
Ollie.
Ollie. Oh, I had a cat named Ollie. Oh.
My
Cute.
horse. Ollie.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh. He's a cool guy. They're cute little ears. Awesome. Oh, cool. And I see you're recording, so that's already set.
Yeah, remembered this time.
Sweet. Yeah, better just to do it, and then we can edit out this part.
Charlie, let's go.
I've been learning Premiere, which is so overwhelming. But for the new podcast, that's how I did like when at DeeDee, and then so Jeff luckily knows. So I've been learning a new tool lately. It's pretty cool. Enough to do the simple edits. Emily, is your daughter in school?
She sure is. I can hear her having
Yeah.
class behind us.
Yeah, our kids, like, some of their first classes today are PE. So like there's like jumping going on and
They do things like yoga for their PE.
oh.
So, like, yeah, you're working really hard there, Madeline.
That's funny. Oh my god. Yeah. I took Seaver out the other day. I was like, you're gonna do a 5K for PE, and I just took him for a walk. Let's make it happen. Oh, DeeDee, I love the monsoon kit. That was cool looking.
Yeah. I like the little plant. That was cute. That was Libby.
Oh, that's cool.
And then she got Spadefoot to write up like kind of how you can grow it. So.
Oh, nice.
And it rained the day after we sent them out, so I think we had something to do with that.
Amazing. We need more of that. That's cool. Yeah, even yesterday, like I heard people got rain like near a mountain, but like our house it didn't. I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah, I was going to say, all we need for the monsoon kit is a monsoon.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep. And Mark, is your daughter in school too?
At home, she's in school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same
I'll
thing.
excuse myself for just a sec. I'll be right back.
Okay. It's Friday though. Yay. It's good. We're going to go to the Desert Museum early Sunday morning. And usually it's been quick lately because it's just so freaking hot. So we do a little tour around and then leave. But right now you can go, but you just make reservations ahead of time. And that's pretty easy to space away from people because it's so big.
Cool.
Yeah, that's something to do. Thanks for running everything, Emily, here. Oh, what I was gonna do is check into Facebook really quick here. Make a check-in. Is there a check? Maybe there's not a check-in. Creative mornings.
Did you guys hear that?
Not really.
Alana is so excited. She got her mom to cave in and give her a sugar cereal, Fruit Loops. She's like, whoa, Fruit Loops. It's like, okay.
Aw, it's cool. It's the little things. That's funny.
Oh my goodness. So are we starting right at 9 o'clock? Is that what's
Yep.
happening? Okay,
Yep.
good.
And Josh will kind of introduce and talk about Creative Mornings and thank sponsors, and then he'll introduce you, and then we'll just go from there. So you, and then DeeDee, then me, and then at the end the breakout rooms, and that's pretty fun because people have questions, and it's like very casual kind of discussion.
Fun. Do you have
yeah.
to have a special Zoom account to have breakout rooms?
I don't know.
You have to pay something, but it's not. Yeah, it's just like the pro or something. It's not that
Oh,
expensive.
okay. Yeah, because I have
It-
Pro, but I've never used a breakout room.
Yeah,
before.
it's $14 a month, and then you can have all that stuff.
Oh my gosh, I got to check that out. Wonderful. So I've
that
got the
is cool.
capacity. I've never used it though.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay, can't wait.
Yeah, I
I'm
did
gonna learn something.
yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and just, for the sake of things, just mute everybody now since it's about time, okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Nope, nope, nope. I don't even know what that.
Welcome, everyone. We'll wait one more minute as people start to pour in.
There's a chat. You can raise your hand. I know settings. There's those things.
All right, I'm going to get started. Nice to see all of your faces, and for those that have your cameras off, you're welcome to have it on. You don't have to, but we'd love to see your face. Welcome to another Creative Mornings, where I've lost complete track, but we're we're getting close to our 2-year anniversary. So we've been keeping up, our great morning lecture series for a while now. And of course we've pivoted and gone virtual. This is our 4th virtual event, and so we're happy to have yet another great panel. To start us off, my name's Josh Belhumer. I'm the managing partner at Brink, which is a brand strategy and creative agency, and I'm your host at Creative Mornings. And before we get into the program, I thought it'd be nice, given the theme, if we could be led in a little bit of a mindfulness activity by my colleague Luke. So I'm going to pass it over to Luke.
Hi there. So nice to see all your faces. As Josh said, Luke Goodhart, operations lead at Brink. And early on in the quarantine, we were trying to, figure out ways to support people with their mental health. We're all obviously under an immense extra layer of stress right now. So I started just doing a drop-in meditation session once or twice a week for colleagues. So I'm just going to lead you right now through a very simple mindfulness exercise. And one of the most powerful tools in this kind of practice, whether it's Buddhist mindfulness or yoga philosophy, is the breath. It's something that's so foundational. It's so simple. We forget about it, but we would die without it in like about 60 seconds. So just take a moment right now to just arrive in the space that you're in. Maybe you've been up for hours already accomplishing things. Maybe you're just waking up and your mind's still a little bit groggy. And just find a comfortable, upright, but relaxed seated position. Maybe dropping your shoulders down, relaxing your neck. And we're just gonna start with a few deep breaths. So in through the nose and out through the mouth. Really sending that breath into the belly. And noticing that sense of rising, of expansion on the in-breath. And that fall and contraction on the out-breath. And on your next exhalation, just gently letting the eyes close, if that's comfortable for you, and returning the breath to normal. And becoming aware of the body, the feeling of weight and contact with the seat beneath you. And just checking in with how your body feels. First, in a very general way, noticing if there's any tension or discomfort or any areas of the body that maybe feel really good and relaxed. Noticing if you feel any restlessness or stillness, and just noticing. And then becoming aware of the breath, just noticing the quality of breath. Is it very shallow, fast? Is it deeper and slower? I'm not trying to change anything, just noticing where your breath is this morning. Noticing that rhythm, the rise and the fall. And now becoming aware of the body again, that sense of weight and contact. Becoming aware of the space around you, noticing any sounds, sensations, temperature of the air. And then when you're ready, just gently opening the eyes again. Coming back into the space. And thank you so much.
You going to share my screen again. So who here, first of all, participation is encouraged in the form of emojis and all of that. So my question is, who here is a first timer? Go ahead and use your little emojis and let's see. I see a couple people. Great. Well, welcome. One thing that you can make sure you do is rename yourself, and you can actually add your handle in there if you want people to follow you on social media. Let's definitely use this as an opportunity to try to connect with one another. You know, when we're in person, it's a lot easier than it is in a virtual setting. So we try to do what we can to facilitate that. We also have the chat box that is enabled. And so feel free to just have a running commentary about what you're hearing. And if, you know, somebody says something and you want to reply, you can have a conversation. Let's have this be a very collaborative setting. Creative Mornings is actually a global level type organization. There's 215 chapters across 67 countries, which comes out to about 20,000 attendees per month. We, of course, are the Tucson chapter, and we are an entirely volunteer organization. So our team is tasked with putting together a breakfast lecture series once a month, every month. And we're just doing it for love of community and to bring our creative community together. Each month there is a theme that we choose from, and so how we interpret that theme is entirely up to us. We're going to talk to you a little bit about what this month's theme is, if you don't know what it is. But before we get to that, I first want to give a few shout outs to some sponsors. So on the global level, we have 3 main sponsors for Creative Mornings, and they're the ones that make it possible to have the website we have, the materials that were provided, and the support staff. First off, MailChimp. Thank you to MailChimp. You know, they're our official global partner for marketing. Right now, MailChimp has a new book that reshapes our perspective. It gives us a different lens through which to see the world, something new to stand up for. MailChimp's virtual book festival, By the Books, which features a collection of emerging voices, is just that. It's a call to stand by new ideas, to be inspired by fresh viewpoints, and to shape our future by championing progressive thinkers. You can find it at MailChimp Presents. So just go to MailChimp.com and go to the MailChimp Presents section, and you should be able to find that. Next up, we want to thank WordPress.com, our global partner for web publishing. Right now, since 2018, Creative Mornings and WordPress have joined forces to bring a special content series called Own Your Content. It's a series of interviews, toolkits, and field trips that explore what it means to create, share, and own the world we put into the world. As part of this exploration, CM talks broadly with creators like Grace Bonney, Jen Hewitt, Koenen, and Paul Jarvis about everything from how to get past creative blocks in order to actually create content to how we can retain ownership and control of work in an increasingly complicated digital landscape. So check out some of those interviews and toolkits. It's just ownyourcontent.wordpress.com. And then lastly, Basecamp, who's our official global partner for project management. And right now, Basecamp is spotlighting this new product they have called Hey. It's an email service made by the folks at Basecamp, love letter to email. It's designed around their belief that your inbox can be delightful and is a completely revolutionary way of approaching email. So take it for a spin with a 14-day trial. It's just hey.com. I don't know how they got that domain, but they did. So check it out. I've actually been in there, poked around. It seems pretty neat. So, and then lastly, we do have local sponsors. And I want to shout out Common Workspace. With Common, they're a co-working space near downtown, a new home for work. They have a number of great perks there. They have a very safe environment during this era of COVID. If anybody from Common is here, go ahead and raise your hand. And then if you have any questions for them, you can message them directly. And then otherwise, definitely call that number or reach out hello@work@common.com and check it out. I think it's a great space for creatives or anybody who needs to get out of the house, which at this point, if you're still entirely from home, I would I would highly consider doing that. So, as I mentioned, we have a global theme every month, and this month's theme was stress. And so now you might understand why we wanted to open with a mindfulness activity, because I think stress is something that, you know, these themes were chosen 18 months ago, and it just became more and more of a relevant theme as time went on. The theme of stress was chosen by the Warsaw chapter, which is really neat. And this illustration that all of the chapters are using was done by an illustrator named Shani Benjamin. In the space between the stimulus and response, takes some of the spotlight away from stress. And so what we've been doing with these virtual Creative Mornings events, we've found like a nice pattern here of doing a panel with 3 speakers. And so our volunteer team went out and We found 3 very diverse and unique speakers that are speaking to this topic from a very different point of view. And so we're really pleased to share our time with them this morning. Dr. Mark Pirtle, DeeDee Koenen, and Julie Bonner. And so Dr. Mark, we're gonna start with you. I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen and turn it over to you.
Okay, you guys can hear me now? Hi, everybody. Thank you, Josh and Emily and Julie, for allowing me to present this morning. I'm an integral therapist. That means I work in the in-between space between the mind and the body. And what I do is I help people understand how to sense into themselves and others and situations with acceptance and care and a wish for a higher good. So it's that's called attunement, and attunement brings you into mindful alignment with yourself and your goals, but also understanding that there's a world out there of relationships and how to move through the world in a healthy way. So you're just not bull in a china shop going forward, and that you actually can create some good. So I just released a film called Is Your Story Making You Sick? Me and others produced that film. It's releasing first week of October on PBS all across the country. And let me share my screen right now with you. Okay. And can you guys see that? Hopefully, yes. You guys see that? Okay, so again, Is Your Story Making You Sick is the film. If you want to know more about the film, go to www.story.movie. My website is skillfullyaware.com. Okay, so let's talk about the insides and the outsides. And I like to do this teaching because it wraps so many things together. So we have stress which arises as a result of what we're experiencing in the world. So think of triggers, the context in which you're living, what we think about that, the story that arises in our mind, and the connection between those two. So the story at a very fundamental level is called an appraisal. And an appraisal is your gut level knowing of an event. And let me explain how appraisals, events create appraisals and create emotions inside of us. So a loss appraisal would arise if something precious to you was lost. So for example, you had a death in the family or you lost your job, and the emotion that always arises with loss is sadness. My daughter and I, we noticed there was a hummingbird that was sort of hanging on the feeder chain time and again. Instead of flapping its wings, it would just sort of hang on the chain. And so we called it the tired hummingbird. Well, the tired hummingbird we found dead yesterday, and my daughter started crying because she experienced a loss. So that's an example of a loss appraisal arising in someone's life. Threat one, let me just talk about both of these threats because there's two types. They're different contexts. Threat one is a threat that arises acutely. Like if you're sitting at a stoplight and you hear screeching tires behind you, the threat is carried in the sound of the screeching tires. So your body knows immediately, uh-oh, right? Even before there's a thought in your mind, even before oh shit, your body's already got the message that there is an acute threat. Threat two is more like what we're living through now with COVID and the economy and, schooling our children at home. It's like, I can't take this anymore. And if you are experiencing threat two, that's often what you're saying to yourself is, I can't handle this anymore. So distress and overwhelm is the emotion that you feel inside. An inadequacy appraisal is an appraisal that you tend to live with, and the narrative in the background is, I'm not okay in some situation. I'm not good looking enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't have enough money. In some way, shape, or form, I don't measure up. and therefore I feel shame. And that can be a very toxic emotion. An injustice appraisal is made when anything that happens that you appraise to be unfair arises, and that's where anger comes from. We have a lot of that in the political arena right now. We have two sides where each side has their own appraisal of what's the other side is doing that's unfair, and so both feel like they have this righteous anger directed at each other, right? So anger's in the community space right now. Now, this last appraisal is not a negative appraisal, it's a positive appraisal, but I want to show you, I added this here because I want to show you how even a challenge appraisal, which leads to the emotion of determination, like I'm going to be able to handle this. This is my spiritual challenge. I'm going to make it through. That seems like a positive reaction, and it is, to stressful events, but even that taken too far, I'm going to show you, can turn into a stress-related pattern or condition. So the third column there on the right are the conditions that arise as a result of these narratives, how stories make us sick. So if you stay stuck, if your habit of interacting and relating with the world or seeing the world is through this lens of loss, then you are going to be depressed. Depression will manifest. Sadness grows over time and becomes depression as a result of staying fixated on the narrative of loss. Okay, threat one will lead to anxiety-related conditions, and there are a lot of them, from insomnia, I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to get to sleep, to panic attacks, right? The whole spectrum. Now, addictions, and lots of us are suffering from addictive behavior, and my definition is doing something over and over that causes yourself harm. That's an addiction. So being overwhelmed, people want to medicate the overwhelm, lessen the medicate, lessen the symptoms, the intensity of the overwhelm, and often they do things or take things to lower the symptoms and become conditioned to do that. That becomes an addiction. Or if you want to fill yourself up with people, places, and things, and you're so ashamed that you develop an addictive pattern. Anger turns into rage. There are reasons to be angry, but there's never a reason to rage. And lastly, again, even determination, where if you develop the habit of not being able to see how you can't let things go, you're so doggedly determined and perfectionistic that you develop OCD type behaviors. Not frank OCD, but OCD type behaviors. So you see in this last column, those are all distortions. The middle column, those are emotions. But staying fixated and developing the habit of clinging to a narrative, the habit of mind of staying stuck on one of these themes or multiple themes, then what happens in the body is the brain changes, biochemistry changes, you alter your immune and your endocrine function, and you develop a distorted way of viewing the world that turns into, the mirror of it is your body takes on this physical condition, okay, the psycho-emotional condition. So I hope everybody understands that. All right, so now let me just talk a little bit more about the broad outline of how stories make us sick. So again, something happens, screeching tires, or somebody cuts you in line. Let's use the example of somebody cuts in on you in the line at Trader Joe's. They're not wearing a mask, and you appraise that as an injustice, and you're already brewing in the injustice. So the automatic thoughts come, God darn it, people are so insensitive, you know, and you might have an idea of who this person is that you project onto them because you believe that people don't wear masks are a certain type of person. And then the next thing you know, whatever was your coping habit, maybe it's the rage, comes out of you. Do you see that? That's how a person develops a habitually distorted self-story, and you'll know that you're in that habit if in your life you catastrophize, which you mean you project negativity onto practically everything, and or you're hypervigilant, which means that you're constantly scanning the environment for potential issues. Okay, you're in the state of hypersensitization. All right, so that is a very brief understanding or lesson on how stories make us sick. And I want to thank Josh and Julie and Emily again for letting me present this information to you all. If you want to see the movie, it's releasing on PBS first week of October. Mental Health Week, Is Your Story Making You Sick? You can see the URL on this slide, story.movie. And if you want to get in touch with me personally, go to my website, skillfullyaware.com, or you can just email me, mark@skillfullyaware.com. All right, you guys, thank you so much for that opportunity. I will stop sharing my screen right now. And let's see, did that work? No, I don't think it worked. Yes, here we are back. And
Yep, thank you.
okay, I'm going to mute myself. Much appreciated.
So much information in so little time. That was amazing. Thank you. Next up, we have DeeDee.
Hello, everybody. I'm DeeDee Koenen. I'm one of the co-owners of PopCycle. And then we also have another line, which is DeeDee Co-Design, which is a line that my partner and I make. So Julie asked me to be on this panel. I'm not sure that I am the best person for this because stress is something that I definitely don't feel like I have a complete handle on. But one of the things that we talked about was kind of talking about how stress relates to business, I think is what Julie was asking. And so for me, that's a complicated one. And I think probably for my partners also, because as a small business, I think that there isn't really a separation between the business and you as a person. I think when you take on these small businesses, they become in some ways an extension of your identity and then an extension of you. And so, so PopCycle's been around for, I think we're on our 12th year this year. We have our birthday in September. So I was just going to kind of highlight some of the ways that we as a group deal with stress in the business and then kind of how some of the things that I do personally. So I'll start with personally. So personally, I happen to be an overdoer. So when I get stressed, I get like really super anxious. I start having tons of ideas. I just start throwing them out to all the partners who often are overwhelmed with the amount of ideas that I'm throwing at them. So I think I've been trying to kind of take a breath, you know, have a place to put those ideas. So we talk to each other through Slack is one of the ways that we interact with each other for the business. So we just created an ideas channel so that when those come up, we can kind of throw them there and then we can revisit them without having me constantly barraging everybody with every idea that I happen to have. So I think breathing is really important for me. It helps me kind of get through and check in with my body and kind of reset so that then I can be a little bit more functional and not so overreactive. So spending time in nature, I think, is super important to me. I feel like it helps me get a clear perspective. It clears my mind, makes me feel connected to the earth, to my surroundings, to the desert. I think we live in a place that is abundantly beautiful, and I think kind of making space to feel that beauty is super important. And I think in some ways that translates to what we sell in the store, because many of the makers in Tucson, I think, understand that intrinsic beauty of the desert, and that's something that through the business we also hopefully celebrate with others. And so as a business, we have a business coach that has helped us through the whole time that we've been in business. And she kind of helps us understand where we all are at, how we can function as a team. The business always does so much better, and we operate in a place of abundance when we're not all kind of operating in scarcity and stress. And so she's been super helpful in us understanding our own personal instincts to react in a certain way. Like Mark was saying, there's like you have very specific coping mechanisms when you have certain stressors, and so for each of us to identify what those stressors might be, and then to maybe take a breath and not bring them to the table, and hopefully bring them to the table in a way that's constructive. And when we see it happening in each other, being able to call each other out on it in a playful but kind way. And honestly, I think those stressors, those coping skills that we learned can be beneficial in many ways if we use them in constructive manner. And so I think being plugged in, like Mark was saying, just being kind of really aware of what's happening is a super hard one, but something that I think absolutely helps with stress is understanding where it's coming from, taking a minute to internalize. And then I think another thing that's really important for me, as far as what the situation that we're in now with so much social injustice, climate injustice, COVID, is now I'm trying to make sure everything that I'm working on is in alignment with what it is that I am hoping for as an outcome. And so that's something, so before I take on a project, just checking in and making sure that that project or expending that energy is something that I think will kind of stay in alignment with what the values that we're trying to create through PopCycle or personally. So yeah, I think that's about it.
DeeDee, with the retail environment being what it is with COVID and all that, and I'm sure the suppliers and artists and stuff you work with, I'd just be curious what advice you'd have for us as consumers to help alleviate stress for everyone.
Sure. I mean, I have to say that probably one of the biggest stressors through this situation has been our responsibility to our artists. We have over 100 local makers in the shop, and their ability to make a living, I think, keeps Tucson's economy strong, resilient, and different. And that's what makes Tucson special. So if we lose all of that, if those people don't have the ability to make those things anymore, so they have to get a different job or something, I think that Tucson really loses something if that happens. And so yeah, so we've tried like all kinds of pivots about like we're doing auctions, we're doing bundle sets, we're doing a pop box. So we're trying to subscription. So we're trying to figure out ways to pivot so that we can still create accessibility to folks, to all the amazing local artists that are here in Tucson, but at the same time do it in a safe manner. So we've done, delivery, we've done pickup. We're going to start doing some limited hours, very controlled access to, because the truth is that PopCycle isn't, and this is a stressor too, is PopCycle really isn't, it isn't created to function like an online store. Like it's about connection. And so like the ability to have those connections, like virtually just isn't the same as people being able to walk in, experience that product, have the artist come in, talk to them about what they're working on now. So connection is really what keeps it going. So we're trying to figure out how to keep that connection, but at the same time, function in this new reality.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And then last up, we've got Julie Bonner, who is marketing director at Free Fall. And what I didn't have enough space to put on the slide is she's also launched a new podcast. So Julie, I'd love for you to introduce yourself and your podcast, and look forward to hearing from you.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. Take a sip of coffee because I have a lot of information and I have a lot of energy right now. So let's get going. So thank you, Mark and DeeDee. And speaking of the podcast, DeeDee was my first guest on Old Pueblo New Economy podcast. So you have to check it out. And thanks, DeeDee, for letting me do that with you. And so I'm going to share my slides right now. Share screen. Here we go. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, thanks. Okay. I'm going to press this button. Okay, there we go. Okay, so as Josh mentioned, I'm Julie Bonner. My own business is Julie Originals. My background is I'm an artist, designer, and now I'm also marketing director for a tech startup here in Tucson called Freefall Aerospace. Those cards right there are what a few people know me for, and they actually sell them in Pop Cycle. They're desert animal flashcards from A to Z that I painted and designed. My son inspired me. Now he's 10, which is blowing my mind. And last year they used him in his class as part of their curriculum. So speaking of kind of stress and time constraints, I actually painted them during my son's nap times. So there's nothing like, you know, having a set hour or two and being kind of determined to get something done. And so I moved through alphabetically from A to Z during that time. So that was a cool project that came out of limited time and limited sleep. So I'm gonna move on here. Oop, how do I switch this? There we go. Okay, right now, this is what I would love to be doing. I love to go work and sit at my favorite local coffee shop. And I have actually many favorite local coffee shops here, but this is Tucson Coffee Roasters, and my art was there a while back. But that's one of the things I miss right now. So we're talking about stress, and I'm not gonna talk too much about the negativity part, but for me, some of the things I really miss is the connections. So one, that's why I always love coming to Creative Mornings and being a part of it. And I also, I miss this kind of work environment where you're like around other people, but you're still getting your work done. And so in my presentation, I'm going to talk about some creative things that are actually happening right now with other creative entrepreneurs in Tucson and how they're dealing with that. And for me personally, one of the things I've been doing, DeeDee brought up nature. And so we have been getting outside despite, you know, the hot temps. So here's my family. And that's one of the things I've been doing for my stress levels. So down at the bottom right is West Clear Creek, which is just an amazing place near Pine, Arizona. And I recommend going there. It's just beautiful. And there's water. We like walked into this water. And then you'll see there's my son where we ride bikes and then do hikes. And actually we're all tennis players. So for me, being active is really, really helpful right now. And the other piece of that, though, is the connection with other creatives. And that's actually why I'm really excited to talk about this new podcast we launched. These are my co-hosts. So that's Nick Morin on the left, Aaron Eden on the right. And we are focusing on entrepreneurs in Tucson. Each of us have a different series. So Nick on the left is focusing on rising stars. And Aaron on the right there is focusing on two things, actually. One is called Mentor Me Live. So if you have a startup or a small business and you're looking for live mentorship during an episode, Aaron's offering that. He's got many, many years of experience in consulting. So that's a very cool concept. And he's also doing an investor deep dive. And then my series is called Creative Community. I'm talking to creatives, musicians and artists and designers, and even just some people are really good at marketing and creative thinking. And so check out the website. And then also you can find it anywhere on Spotify, Apple Music, all the ways you like to, stream podcasts. And what I'm going to do is talk about some really creative examples of some of the people I've talked to in the show, what they're doing right now, and hopefully inspire some creative thinking and positivity right now in your world. So I don't know if any of you, well, I'm sure some of you know Bob Log. He is a good time. He is this fun musician from Tucson, been rocking it for like mid 90s. And I interviewed him recently. I'm so excited. This hasn't been released yet. He is currently, and so number one, check him out online. And he's indescribable. He He's a one-man band, wears this helmet with the telephone there, and then he plays guitar and he also plays drums with both his feet. And he tours all over the world. He's a really fun guy. He's got really great stories. And unfortunately, right now he's in Australia where he spends part of his time, but they're in a major quarantine situation too. He can't go 5 miles past his home. And so he's been really creative and came up with a fun way to make money, create, despite not being able to be on tour right now. And so he's offering custom birthday songs. And what you do is it's $100, which is like a steal. And you send a photo of your loved one, what they like, what they don't like. And he's making a really fun birthday song that you can share with anyone, put it on digital or on your social media. And he told me this is going nuts. Like he's working 9 to 5 right now, doing these birthday videos. He said, I don't know why so many people were born on August 15th, but he said it was nuts for some reason. Oh, wait, are you Josh? Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So it's a thing. But check him out online and actually check him out. I'll be releasing the podcast pretty soon. And on each release on the website, I always show ways to connect with the creative. Okay, that's Bob. Okay, moving it. Okay, Adam Townsend. Some of you might know him. He's a great guy, local musician. He released his full-length album about a year ago called All My Fires. And same thing, he can't really play out right now. But some of the things he is doing is, number one, you'll see down here the Tucson Artist playlist. He made this on Spotify. He has his songs in there, but he also has many other kind of Tucson bands. It's really fun. So follow it and like it on Spotify. He just added even more music to the mix. And it's a great way. Think about how you can do this with your own business. Who can you collaborate with and create something bigger than just your own music or art or design? So I think it was a very creative idea. And then this funny picture up here with his son, I'm gonna explain this. He right now created a little campaign to drive traffic to people following his artist page on Spotify. So he did this Facebook post. He had a huge beard at this point. And he was like, okay, number one, can you please like my page on Spotify? And if you send me a screenshot of your like, I'm gonna give away 5 of my full-length albums. And then he said, and then if I can get 100 comments on this post, I'm gonna let my son shave off my face. And then he ended up with this crazy stash. And of course he succeeded. And you can see this, he has video for everyone of his son shaving off his face. And what's great is not only did many people like his Spotify page, which is so helpful to any musician that you like, but also he just shared recently in another post that he's reached over 100,000 streams of his full-length album on Spotify. So I love the idea, the creativity, working with what you got. So he's working with a lot of hair and it worked for him. And now he's getting more plays online. So it's really fun and creative. This is Chateau Chateau. I actually discovered them through Adam's playlist on Spotify. I like their fun music so much that this is who I'm using for the intro and outro of our new podcast. So I just reached out to them and like worked a deal with them. And during the process, I was like, oh, it'd be so fun to interview. And so they're another guest that I talked to. And fun music, check them out. But in the meantime, they've been working on their first full-length album right here called Princess for like over a year. They've done everything themselves. This is an independent release. And then they had planned on launching the music, where are we at? August. I guess it was August. End of July. End of July was when what day is it? It was the end of July. And so it was really creative. So they have this full album, but they also did an Instagram live stream launch party. Super fun. I don't know if any of you saw it, but it was a really good time. And I think they have a recording of it too. But costume, I mean, this is how they are. They're theatrical. So costumes in color and good times. And I think it's so creative to do that live stream launch party. And then they also just did a very cool thing. They did a live recording of an old song with this guy out of Scottsdale. And I think that's so neat. And it's a live thing where people can comment and be part of that process. So just being creative of, I know it's a weird time, but what can you do virtually, or to let people, your fans or your friends, be a part of that, They're really fun. Okay. And then you guys might know Ashley White. She's an amazing hand letterer, artist, commercial artist. She's done most of the art in many of the restaurants you love around town. If you go on the website, I put one of her murals from 1055 that she did. She's done the work at the new Le Buzz over here. And a few things that Ashley's been doing during this time is, one, learning. She loves to learn, and she talks about that a lot in the podcast. She tells me about workshops she's done in the past, but online ones she's doing now. And then also this little video, I know it looks random down here, but she's been able to work on some of her more personal projects right now. And she did this hand lettering in gold leaf. And so she took video to show us, there we go, we'll see the gold. There you go. It's hard to tell in the photo, but with a video, you can see how beautiful this gold leaf art and stuff she's been doing. So she's working on more of her personal projects. And I think that's so awesome. And she's just a delight. And I think that's it as far as my examples. Sorry, I keep getting this weird thing. Technical glitch. Oh, there we go. Boom. Okay. The top here are, there's DeeDee. You just met DeeDee. She's awesome. And then Nick Duarte is a filmmaker here in Tucson. I just checked in with him. He actually directed a commercial video up in, it was like Missouri or something, Nick. I'm probably butchering it. But it went well. They were COVID safe, and it was great. And then, there's Toby Parks, who's a background in marketing and sales. And then everyone below are upcoming episodes. And I'm so excited so you guys can see them. So like I said, here's the website. And every interview I do, there's the video interview, and then there's the audio that you can listen online. And then I try to include pictures and more information. But most importantly, look at the bottom, please connect with everyone that I've talked to. They are so friendly, and this is what it's all about. And then that's it for me, basically, is here's my picture of some of my friends. Oh my God, forget it. And so connect with me. There's my website, julieoriginals.com, and all my socials, Julie Originals. Thanks again. I look forward to talking to you guys in the breakout too. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Julie. And yeah, about half of those have been Creative Mornings speakers. So it's definitely, we have this great shared community going. So I invite everybody to check out that podcast. I'm on Nick's episode, actually, which I felt a little jealous. I wanted to be on the creative. I wanted to be in your episode. But we're now going to go into these breakout sessions. So we're going to break into 3 different rooms, and then you'll all be able to talk and interact and ask questions of the speakers. So Emily's got the power, and hopefully she'll figure that out. Awesome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Mark.
Hello.
Hey, Josh, I just want to tell you before we get started on this, I've got to jump off. I've got a client in 9 minutes. So,
All right. Well,
yeah, we're pushing right up against the edge.
no worries at all.
Okay.
Does anybody
All right.
have like a really great question for Mark?
Yeah, I'm here to serve. Just let me know if you have any questions.
I don't have any questions, but I just want to say that, Mark, I was in your class. I want to say
hi, Katie.
over 5 years ago, and
Yeah.
I still talk about you to all my friends, and it made such a life-changing impact for me.
Oh,
So
gosh, thank you so much.
I'm so
Wow.
glad I got to be in your room where I get to say thank you again.
Oh, you're welcome. I hope you're doing well.
I am.
Are
Looks
you
like
still
you
in
are too.
Yeah, thriving. Are you still in Tucson?
I am.
Okay,
I work
great.
for Hydrant. So
Oh, wonderful.
life
Wonderful.
is good.
Oh, good. Yeah.
All right, I took up too much of your 9 minutes, so I'll let somebody else.
Well, Mark, I'm curious, how did you go about producing the film and then eventually get it on PBS? Did you have
Oh, yeah,
distribution before the
thanks.
film? Like, how did that work?
Yeah, well, long process. So I worked in rehab for a number of years. I started the pain program at Sierra Tucson, and I saw that rehab was missing the mark. Everything was a brain disease, right? And nobody understood that, or what, that we weren't teaching the patients uh, about their own empowerment and what it was that they were doing inadvertently, unconsciously, that was keeping them stuck in their pattern. And so I had the inspiration to make a movie about that self-understanding, because we got to learn how to be, if we're going to feel better, we're going to have to learn how to manage our subtle interior and how it meets the world, right? And so people have to learn how to become their own best therapist. So made that movie, and I have the great blessing to have a benefactor who is funding the distribution. And so there is a distribution team. I didn't get it on PBS, but the distribution team did. And so it's going to premiere on PBS first week in October, Behavioral Health Week. So that's when the film will release to the public.
That's great. Anybody else?
So it looks like Victoria sent 4 questions in the message or in the chat.
Okay, let me check that out. Okay, so all right, Victoria, I have 4 questions. Do you see the mind, body, spirit connection? Yes. So I'm a systems thinker, and which means that all of the parts, and when you say mind, body, spirit, conventionally we'll break ourselves into parts that way. I see both the unity and the parts functioning, and that's what I primarily try to help my students understand, is how to understand what the mind is, and how and mental objects, thoughts and feelings affect body, and the information that's flowing through our body, the physical and the emotional sensations. And then just in terms of spirit, understanding that every person has this autonomous drive to be authentic, and what attunement is learning how to better relate to that internal drive in yourself, but not in a way that and I mentioned this earlier, that you're like a bull in a china shop, that you recognize the subtle interior in other people, and therefore find a way to actualize your authentic desires in a way that brings not only goodness to yourself, but goodness to the world. So that's the first one. Do you know how it starts? With values. So yeah, values are drivers, and as we learn, as we grow our perspectives, our values shift and hopefully become more clear and true. Do you understand biopsychosocial paradigm? Yes. Do you value space for Eastern healing arts? Absolutely. So yeah, I think that's it. Is Victoria on this call? Yeah, there's Victoria. Hi, Victoria. Yeah, is there any of these that you want me to go into more depth? Like, do I value space for Eastern healing arts, biopsychosocial paradigm? So what you're doing, I can tell that you're already sort of a systems thinker by your language. So you see the parts and the whole as well. So I mean, simple answer to all of your questions is yes.
Do you see that there is a hierarchy, and that with like a historical context on how we built the society of the culture that we live in, that there are barriers, and that has aroused out of it's been there the whole time? Like you said, you did rehab, right? Yeah. Well, I actually came up with like a whole plan of like what a rehab place would look like. I came up with an idea for a book, and I took a lot of notes because I've been in poverty, I've been in generational poverty, and an education didn't seem pliable because I couldn't have a roof over my head, so I kept trying and then losing the housing and stuff like that. So like the whole system is falling apart very slowly. There's going to be like real barriers that are like why your job is so important and why jobs like healers are important. And I just want to know that like you come from a Western world, I come from an Eastern world. The world's going to be forced to see all of it, whether they want to or not, you know?
Yeah, no question. And I hold that Eastern perspective as well. I'm been a meditator and a practitioner of Eastern Dharma for a few decades now, and so I understand the holistic perspective, and I'm also a student of developmental psychology and how a person's how consciousness grows up through stages, and as consciousness grows up, we're able to see more and resolve conflicts at a lower level in more effective and holistic ways. And so you are right. Our current system that is functionally operating at a traditional and modern level is breaking down, and we are entering an age where and consciousness is driving this, where we're going to start to see things, and more people in the population are going to be like you and see things holistically, which will drive the change in the structure.
Mark, if you have time for one more, I thought it was really interesting the way you framed your movie around the story, right? And I'm a storyteller by trade. And so I know you're talking about the story you tell yourself, but do you have any advice for like a creative storyteller like me and what I can do to help people overcome some of these issues?
Okay, so how do I want to say this? I'm also a student of Joseph Campbell's work, and so it's the job of the artist to make the myth, and the myth and the story that is going to influence people at a core level is going to come from the artists who are connected to their own core. So artists being the myth makers, I don't know how to tell you to write your story other than when you write and you're in that creative space, that you're speaking from the universal pathos and eros that drive all of us. Does that make sense? Hopefully.
It makes a ton of sense. Thank you.
Oh, you're sure welcome. Well, you guys, I gotta run. I wish I had more time. I've got a client right at the top of the hour.
No worries at all. And we're all adjourning at 10 anyway, so you're not too early. So thank you again,
Okay.
and good luck with your client.
Thank you so much. Okay, bye everybody.
So anybody else? I had like Krista. What's your story?
Hi, Josh. Let's see. My story is that I work for the Fox Tucson Theater. I work with Emily in the marketing department, and I'm working from home part-time. And I've got to say, I'm really impressed with your handling of all of these people on Zoom. Oh my gosh. We had to run something similar on Zoom with some of our donors, and it's stressful. But you know, these breakout rooms, and you've got, you know, the screen sharing, and you're doing it so well.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, I think this is we have gotten practice, and also, you know, beyond Creative Mornings, you know, a lot of people have come to Brink for help, and usually we're doing, you know, kind of the video production side in the live stream. But streaming element, but you find yourself basically doing tech support with a bunch of people. And so it's been interesting. It's an interesting time.
Yeah, it's all running very smoothly, this whole thing. And we've all been a part of a lot of Zooms lately, and this one is smooth.
Thanks. Yeah, we did. I don't know if you saw the Tucson Helping Tucson stuff we did early in the quarantine. That wasn't a Zoom. That was, like Facebook Live. But that was really interesting to learn. Like, basically, we had the host of the show, Frank Powers. He was on a Zoom call. He was on a call with us in the studio. And then we were projecting that Zoom call out onto the Facebook Live, but being able to live switch between that and pre-recorded content. And so it's kind of funny because we have enterprise live streaming content or equipment. So we have $100,000 worth of equipment doing a glorified Zoom call with
Oh my gosh.
content. So it's been really funny. But we're also, like, we do the mayor and council meetings for the city of Tucson and all of that. And so certainly, there's getting the job done, but then there's like that higher level of production that I haven't seen in Tucson yet. And I'm looking for that opportunity to just go out and do like a multicam like concert or something.
Oh my gosh. Well, I have no doubt that you could pull it off.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hi. My dog is barking.
Oh, no problem at all. It looked like we have 22 seconds. I saw your face, so I wanted to say hi. You're in Tucson? Are you in Tucson?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I am.
Yeah,
I'm in Tucson. I moved here last year.
Cool. Yeah, it seems like when we first started doing these we're gone.
I don't know.
All right, we're back. I was actually just about to remark in my breakout room, it's when we first started doing these virtual creative mornings, we had a lot of people from other countries and like around the world joining in. And now it seems to be getting more and more local each time. And now it's like mostly people from Tucson, which it was cool, to have that field trip aspect, but I also really like when we can all connect together. So I do want to give a big shout out to our volunteers. Jen, the co-host, really big shout out to Julie. Julie's been with us from the beginning, but not only did we ask her to speak, she basically put together this whole panel, and it was really great. So Julie, thank you so much. And then thank you to Emily, Nisa, Muhammad, who have been consistently in our core volunteer team, helping with social media and breakout rooms and all that stuff. So we will see you next month. We are putting together that program. Keep an eye out on our social media. And if you haven't subscribed to the email list yet, it's just creativemornings.com, and you go to the Tucson page and put your email in there. And I will leave you all with this quote. To achieve great things, two things are needed: a plan and not quite enough time. So make the best of the stress you're in. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks,
Bye,
John.
guys. Thanks, Jen.
Bye.
Bye, all. Julie, Mark, DeeDee.
Bye-bye.
And Emily, you can end the meeting for all.